Guys, welcome to episode 92. As you can tell, we're clearly scraping the bottom of the barrel with this stuff now. Guys, start asking questions. What we're probably going to do is some front headlock escapes. All right. That was one of the questions we got. I think that's a good. It's probably a little bit more suitable for no gi, but let's, with the gi you have the additional threat of the collar grips. Understand my philosophy in these positions, in these defensive or not advantageous positions for me. I look at things in jiu-jitsu from the lens of self-defense or MMA. So I don't believe in defenses where I'm protecting my neck at the expense of possibly getting hit in the face or torso repeatedly without a solution on my part. So I have a tendency to move a lot quicker and get something going quickly, even though I'm exposing myself to a risk of him doing something, follow-up submission or something. So I would rather do that than sort of be in those positions and fend off attacks or fend off just by staying there permanently or for the foreseeable future. So let's look at some scenarios. So I turtled up. Enrique has a front headlock. Guys, first thing, if I can, I want to make sure that you curl up your shoulders because you want to make sure you protect your neck. So it's a lot harder. You don't necessarily have to curl up both. You have to curl up at least one. So it's going to be hard for him to cut off, either connect his hands or cut off both carotids. You can go out if you have only one carotid covered. So you want to make sure that you cover. I have both my shoulders, my elbows are in, but I don't want to sit here and just kind of frustrate him and let him move around. And so as the guy moves, so I will typically use 2-on-1, but keep my elbows in also because my elbows flare out, especially a stronger guy can start to break down your defensive structure, especially if he puts one of his legs behind my elbow. This is a major problem. So I want to kind of make sure that my arms do not get isolated. But the biggest problem right here, guys, is a choke. It's not the only problem, but it is the biggest problem. All right. I'm looking to fold. All right. If I fold to my left, he's going to continue to threaten my back, or he's going to take top of cross side. So if I try to go 2-on-1, and now I'm going to try to fold to my right. It's a slightly longer distance for him to travel, but this is, you always want to make your journey or your movement as efficient as possible. Yeah, this is going to happen. This is happening. Tap. If you stretch instead of drinking your coffee after being 10 minutes late and stuffing it under your rash guard, this would not have happened. So, guys, again, first thing, you know what? Let me back up. If I'm turtling up, I don't want to go into turtle at all, stay there. Ideally, what I like to do is this. So, Enrique is passing my guard. I just literally want to roll through. This is what I want to do. Okay? So, if I get stuffed in a turtle, that means I already messed up twice. Okay? So, when he's passing my guard, especially like bullfighter pass, Tarando. So I messed up once, but I can recover, and this is where I want to be. I want to be here before we even get a chance to turtle up and he puts his weight on me. Okay? So I want to turtle up and roll through right away. Now, With the gi, it becomes a little more complicated. So say he actually holds on. We covered this in one of the episodes. My wrist, my right hand goes on his left wrist, thumb down. And I'm trying to, I keep moving. I try to keep my, if this happens, I'm not going to turtle up. I'm just going to make sure I stay, don't let him kind of go all the way around. Okay? So I need to actively push his hand diagonally away and try to go ahead, keep going. Oh yeah. Who's going to be turtle now? So if he stays on the pants, I'm going to continue to move his hand away from me diagonally towards the floor, guys, not up. If you do go up, you're going to have your back taken. We covered that in one of the episodes. I forget which one, maybe two.
Adolfo Ferranda says it's on episode 71.
71. Nice. Adolfo, I thank you for the top 10. Very detailed. Extra credit for you. I might have a project for you. Guys, there were a couple of suggestions. One of them, it's a good one, to create some sort of scrambles and call it a scrambled eggs episode, or Enrique gets scrambled. My back's a little bit on the break, so I've been training in the water the last couple of days. I might keep it up for another couple of days to make sure that I don't break. When you ask what break means, it means that I can barely walk. So I don't want to get to that point. It's very rare that it happens, knock on wood, but it does. That's it.
And Jim Taylor is asking, do you think sitting out gives them more options?
What do you mean sitting out?
If you were to sit out.
Yeah, you can. If he's not going. So if he's kind of keeping his sort of more around your torso rather than threatening your neck. Usually, then I will sit out. So if he go, so I will trap his elbow, peek out, and sit out. Now, I'm not a fan of sitting out when he's threatening my neck. That's me personally. Look at this. I got shallow carotids, you know that. So the problem is, so if I threaten Enrique's neck, go ahead, sit out. If I have a good grip on that neck, he just royally screwed himself. So if my neck is being threatened, if the guy has a good front headlock with his hand kind of chin strap, I'm not a fan of sitting out, because that will literally, you're gonna go from turtle somewhat defensive position to sort of being choked the daylights out of, and you will have caused it yourself. So I'm not a fan of sitting out when the guy threatens neck. I will sit out if his hands are wrapped around my torso. So again, I will clamp down on it, post on my left elbow, left knee. I'm going to look, just peek out outside the hip, and then look at the ceiling. Oh yeah, this is happening. Oh, guys, can you all see Enrique digging his knuckle into my torso? Could they see it, Mike?
Didn't do anything.
Could they see it?
You're making stuff up, so you can beat.
We have video evidence. So let's go back to the front headlock. So initially, step number one is if bullfights my legs, throws my legs to the side, I got a turtle, I'd like to roll through before he drops his weight on me. Okay? So that's the number one, even though we covered it as a second one. The next one is, you know what, I go 2-on-1, and I will still try to 2-on-1 before he gets a solid grip. All right, so I'm going to put him into split guard here. So that's my second line of defense. Guys, again, you know, you got to start to think, especially in when you're in a bad position in terms of lines of defense. You know, if one gets penetrated, you got to go to the second line of defense. That gets penetrated, third line of defense. Understand that eventually there will be no lines of defense. You're going to get nailed and submitted.
Caleb Throop is asking, do you avoid tripoding and hitting peek out drag outs for any particular reasons? Getting your hips high like you see in wrestling is only just recently starting to show up at higher levels of BJJ/MMA.
You know, again, if the guy threatens the neck, I will. You can do it, but so if I have a good grip, if Enrique go, I'm gonna stay on him. So obviously, if it's an elite level wrestler, you know, his wrestling is not bad at all. But you know, if the guy has a good grip on your neck, there's a very interesting video. If you guys go to if you're on our YouTube channel, go to Fluid BJJ video. It's sort of how long is that video, Mike? It's basically a narrated video of me kind of flow rolling with one of my students, and interspersed with sort of, okay, this is a specific technique that I used on land, on the mats, and here's how I drill that technique in the water. So it kind of goes through the explanation of what I mean by Fluid BJJ, okay? But interestingly enough, Ricky was a wrestler, and he tried to sit out a lot. I was hunting for the guillotines, but every time he sat out, he gave me his back. So I wanted the guillotines, but when he sat out, he gave me his back. So actually, that's a good video for you guys. It happened repeatedly. That's not the reaction I wanted from him in the first place, but that's what he was giving me, and I just went with it.
It's roughly about 5 minutes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 5 minutes. It's not really a high level intensity, but he used to wrestle. You know, we're not going super hard, but it also gives you an idea how. Basically, I just take what he gives me. I don't fight. You know, I have a guillotine. That's my initial intention, was to hit him with a guillotine, but he knows it. He knows guillotine is a good weapon for me, and just kept taking it away. So if you go to the Fluid BJJ playlist, I think there's 4 or 5 videos. It's me and him standing, no gi. There's cage in the background. You'll find it.
And JH is asking, do you think it's valuable to spend time drilling against someone who just hunkers down in a tight turtle position and won't move? Any suggestions for that?
Yeah, I think we covered that. There is an episode on that specifically. Well, I mean, maybe not the whole episode, but there's a couple of responses where you got a guy that hunkers down and is just not gonna move. So there's a couple ways to break the turtle against high-level guys. I've employed them against high-level guys. You know, some of them are kind of like, you know, out there. But Adolfo, what episode was that in? You and Piotr know everything. Unfortunately, Piotr is now back to work, back to training, so he's not joining us live. But anytime anybody had a question, he literally would have an answer specifically pointing you to that minute marker where you could find it. But there's an episode on that. It's been a while. It's maybe in the 60s or 70s.
John P. says, episode 58.
Yes.
Still season 2.
And Anand is asking, Coach, if he turtles and you got the hand in the collar, which option is more convenient for you? The clock choke or the bow and arrow? I can imagine both happening from there.
Well, it depends which hand is there. You know, clock choke. The clock choke I would do from here. You know, so if I'm sort of perpendicular to him, this one would be a little different. You know. if I had the collar grip. So if we're trying to focus on defense right now. Again, when I turtle up, I don't want to be there long enough. I don't want to frustrate the guy with taking grips away from him, or you know, just kind of. I want to get out of there and go after him. So again, understand, guys. I look at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, even in the gi. Just my overall Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game is geared towards self-defense / MMA. So you have to understand, you don't want to be in bad positions too long. If you're in a position where you could be repeatedly hit, you got to move. Even though from a grappling context, you may be okay. All right? So let's just go over the offensive side. So if I'm perpendicular, I would go with the clock choke. If I'm north-south and I get a grip on his collar, a lot of times, you know, the guy knows there's a threat coming through. What I will do is roll underneath. And I put my knee behind his head to finish. So that's the two offensive options I have with the collar. But right now we're working a little bit on the defensive side. So we address the issue first. If he gets through your legs quickly and you turtle up, you try to roll through right away. That's line of defense number one. Line of defense number two is when he puts his weight on you, north-south, then I'm going 2-on-1. All right? Because I want to prevent him. Notice how I'm sinking my butt and spreading my knees, because right now I want to have a good base. Then I'm going to drive forward, then forward. Now I'm going to go into an offensive mode. Yeah. What are you going to do? That's not going to happen. That will not happen. No, that's not. So the line of defense number two is prevent him from getting grips. I'm most concerned about the grips around my neck. All right. So there's a way you can really stay internal quite a long time and just kind of thwart the guy's grips and prevent him from getting good grips to attack something. But just like in everything else in jiu-jitsu, everything in jiu-jitsu has a counter. Everything. Maybe complicated, maybe high level, maybe might take some time, and you may have to do your things, your counter better than the guy that's attacking you, but everything has a counter, all right? The line of defense, number three, is when he starts to get grips. You know, so basically that means you were kind of caught asleep. You were sleeping. You missed already two lines of defense. All right. So if Enrique gets his grips, I gotta pay attention. Is it a headlock grip, in other words, or is this a collar grip? If it's a collar grip, guys, what I'm looking to do is I want to make sure that I slip his elbow. All right, and his shoulder. So if he gets a collar grip, it's very important for me to try to slip his elbow. So what I'll do is I don't want his weight on me. So even a big guy that keeps full weight on your shoulders, you can just push him off by driving forward. And then I'm going to try to slip. This may be kind of difficult, but you have to get it done. If you don't, guys, if he has a strong collar grip, you're on the way to being submitted. So if he gets a grip, I need to take it away from him. There's a couple of ways you could take it away by but now I gave him a different grip. So if he gets a collar grip, even if it's a real good one, shoulder forward, guy, I'm gonna drive forward and slip my head. Once I slip my head, guys, I'm gonna try to regain best position possible. You may have to accept bottom of Crossside because you have to. Being on the bottom of Crossside is better than being submitted, for sure. Bottom of the Crossside is probably better than if you, if you're on the way to being submitted. Okay, so I have to make sure I take away his grip. And it's not just the grip on the collar. It's more, I need to defend it fundamentally. I can't just rip his hand off. Because usually if he gets a collar grip from north-south from a turtle, and you just strip this, I would just wrap the head now clean without the collar, without the gi. So now you went from one possible submission to another.
And lots of Pierce says, Coach, we're back training like a week ago, and as you promised, my BJJ not only didn't get worse, it really gotten better. This is really unbelievable. Thank you.
That's awesome, guys. I told you this from the very, very beginning, 92 days ago, right? Thank you, Elon. Yes. I said that to you guys, that even though if you haven't trained in a long time, your game will not get worse. And it actually may get better by watching stuff visually and absorbing it visually. So, yeah. Guys, that was the whole objective. 2 thumbs up. 4 thumbs up. Yes. And fist bump, too. I got to learn how to do this. For some reason, this thumb wants to go down when I'm fisting. All right. Let's get on with it. So, if he's grabbing the collar, all right, I need to make sure I control his arm. Guys, also notice how I'm arching my back to get his shoulder a little bit higher, so when I'm ready to slip my head, it comes out. Now I'm going to fold. There's a good chance that Enrique is going to beat my leg. That's okay. I'm just basically happy that I get submitted. Now I'm going to address now I'm going to try to, that's not going to happen that easily, but I'll go with it. And we have a scramble on our hands, which I won. But again, anytime I'm in a bad position, I want to create scramble. If I'm in a good position, I want to stop scramble. I want to control him. So now, if he wraps, instead of trying to grab the collar, if he wraps my head, that's a bit of a harder grip to stop, just because usually with the collar, their shoulder is a little, further down on your back. With the sort of naked grip, for lack of a better word, naked grip, his shoulder is going to be a lot closer to your head. So it's going to be harder to slip. So now, again, what I want to prevent him from doing is connecting the second hand. So if I can stop him from second hand, I can still defend. Guys, watch my hips, what I do in response. So right now, I'm concerned about his grips. Okay, he got one grip in. I'm still going to try to stop the second hand going in. But right now, I'm sinking heavy. I don't know if you can see it. I'm sinking. My knees are going apart and my hips are getting lower. When I'm ready to fold, I will. So then I will drive up. So what I'm doing is almost like, think about it is, when you're ready to jump, you're not going to jump with your legs straight, right? Although the Maasai warriors in Africa do. Jump straight up with legs straight. But if I want to jump high, I will bend my knees. So that's what I'm doing with my knees are already bent as much as they could be bent. So what I'm doing is I'm spreading my legs apart, lowering my base. So when I load up on the height so I can fold under, that allows me to do that. All right, so again, with one hand, if I tried to block the second one, but I'm in trouble here. All right, now if he wraps and he now gets a second grip, I would like to fold, but I know now that I'm going to defend guillotine. So I know he's going to push it into me. So if I fold, if I was Enrique, I keep the grip and get on top. So if I fold, yeah, it's gonna be ugly for me. So once he wraps the head clean, where he gets both grips, at that point I know I don't fold. Some guys will fold. They're hoping that in that fold they create an unexpected scramble for him. But if you have a lot of experience, you know, on the attacking side, you'll just take it. You still take the grip, and now you folded the guy. He's bottom cross-side, possibly getting choked with one or two-handed guillotine, possibly mounted. So I know he's gonna go for a guillotine. So I actually will do what most people expect to do with a twist. I'm gonna start to drive forward, and as he's going, guys, if you remember the guillotine episode, I know somebody. I want to drive. I don't want to get underneath him faster or slower than he's going. I want to match his speed and intensity as I'm going down into guillotine perpendicular. So if I'm on the defensive side, I want to disrupt that speed. Okay? So I will drive forward only to slow down. So as he's matching my speed, all right? So I'm going to let him do it the way he intends, like matching speed. So as he's matching my speed, I'm going straight into the choke. So what I'm going to do is as I push, I push, I match his speed, and then I slow down. That slow down creates just enough space for me to swim my head from side of his torso to underneath his torso. It's very, very important. Does that make sense?
And Lane is asking, can you please show the motion without Enrique on top? The one you just did before.
Which one did I do before? This one?
The folding.
Which one?
The folding.
Oh, okay. Right. So he has one grip. I still tried to stop him from getting the other grip. But notice how I'm really spreading my legs. So what I'm doing is kind of like loading up. So it feels like I'm hunkering down. But as soon as I get there, I drive forward and fold. This is key, guys. You want to keep that leg as close to your body as possible. If I'm out here and his body's here, almost for sure he's going to stop the leg and move on to cross-side. But if my leg is close to my body, as I'm folding, high probability you're going to catch one of his legs or his hips as he's coming forward. And then I just square up. Okay?
So thank you.
Since we're doing this solo, let's do the other one. So this time he got both hands. So I know I'm getting guillotine. So I'm going to drive forward at his pace and just briefly pause or slow it down. That slight opening, my head swims underneath the torso. Now I'm not in a threat of a guillotine. Now you're still in a bad position, but now at least I can deal with the position. I don't have to worry about that submission anymore. 2 minutes. Do we have any other questions on this, Mike? All right, so let's look at it again. So he got both. Now let's assume he got, go ahead, get the arm in, get the headlock. So guys, this is a little bit tougher, all right? So now, as I know he's gonna fall. It's too late for me to fight the grips. It's okay, keep it. It's all right. It's good for them to hear my voice being muffled by the choke, so they know this stuff is for real. So right now, guys, if I can, I'm gonna try to clear his legs. I couldn't, and now I drive up to protect my neck. If I could clear his legs, you can hear my voice is much better now because he's not choking me as much. I'm still in trouble. What I would try to do is get my leg over his arm. Go ahead, hold on to it. If I cannot, I will just continue to sort of sit here until I get my arm out. Once I can get my arm out, I will run through him. So you have to understand if there's no arm in, there's a very compelling reason why I do no arm and guillotine. It was in my head, but now I forgot. Very compelling. It makes it all that much worse. So,
You control both karate, arming, you don't.
yeah, but there's another one, yes. With arm-in, I control both karates. That is one of the very compelling reasons.
The escape?
Huh?
Because of the escapes?
Because you're not too strong.
That's not it. But anyways, guys, when you're caught in a headlock, you have to see, is he going arm in or no arm in? No arm in, I'm going to drive and then sort of slow down the pace or pause, swim my head under, and now I'm going to deal with the position. With the arm in, that's not going to work because you're too tightly wrapped. So you will have to continue to try to clear his legs to get perpendicular on him. Then extract your arm, and then you can escape. But you're on top of Crossside, he usually should not be able to finish you. That said, guys, I still prefer no arm and guillotine.
And two more things before we close out. Lots of peers asking in regards to the time interruption head swim. After you moved your head, will you fold?
If I can, yes. If it depends on his positioning. If he's backing away, depends how much he, if he's not backing away, I'm gonna fold. You gotta feel it. It's an instantaneous decision. But if he's backing away too far, if he's like, oh crap, then I will try to actually reverse him off it. Does that make sense? So no arming, yeah. So go ahead. If he's backing away, I will actually go and drive forward. Okay, if he backs away just enough, but he resumes his forward sort of momentum, you can feel it. You can feel it. Which way is his imbalance, guys? That's one of the big things you need to train in jiu-jitsu too. Is feel what is your opponent doing? Which way are they pulling? Are they over pulling? Can I take advantage of their movement that way? If you can, it makes sweeps looks like it's the easiest things in the world. You reverse people because you exaggerate their movement. So you have to train also in a way to feel it. It takes time and experience, but it's a very important element of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
And last thing, Legacy Channel says he experienced the same thing as Alad. I didn't notice, but a lot of my teammates have said the same thing, that you seem better, your transition game has improved. So thank you, Fox and crew.
Yes. Guys, you made my day. Right now, I'm going to go back to my brain and try to figure out what I forgot. The compelling reason. There is a very compelling reason. There's a couple compelling reasons why I prefer no arm and guillotine.
The follow-ups are easier. You control the neck better, the head, the whole body.
Yeah, I
I
know.
feel like the arm helps him escape more.
I'll figure it out, guys. Anyways, thank you. You made my day. Guys, we will see you tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Stay well, stay safe. Be nice to others. Like, share, subscribe, tag, friend.
Stalk.
Episode 93.
Season 4.
No,
Episode
season
3.
4. Guys, last week, all right? We will still do Roll with the Fox. It's going to go back to a monthly basis, all right, guys? It's not going to be that long because we're going to finish episode 99, June 20th. And July, I forget. Second, I think, or something like that.
Friday.
So it's not going to be that long before we reconvene again. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.